Alrighty, it is another week of grammar. This week we are going to do a little bit of review on prepositions. I will try to keep it shorter this week. Obviously, there was not as much to cover in the last grammar lesson, so my hope is that this video will be a little bit shorter than what last week's video was. So let me share my screen here so that you are able to see my slideshow. I will present it for you so it's full screen. And then I will myself so that you are not distracted by my face. Okay, so prepositions, a review. Okay, so before I go into it, I would just like to say overall, the grades were really high on this assignment. I actually contemplated not making a video because overall, there was one question in particular that was just a bad question that a lot of you missed. That's on me, not on you. But if I take that question out, every single question in terms of every answer was correct by over 70% of the class. I like to see after the curve, everyone in that B range, we were already there before I did the curve. So the grades on this assignment are going to be exceptionally high, which is what I like to see. But just to reiterate what we looked at, let's go over prepositions one more time. So a preposition shows the relationship of a noun or a pronoun to some other word in the sentence. It attaches meaning to two different sections of a sentence. And then a compound preposition is simply just a preposition that has more than one word. It's one of the phrase ones, and they were both listed, both individual preposition words as well as your compound prepositions. So overall, and I think part of the reason why many of you probably did very well on this assignment is when you're in doubt and you're not sure what the preposition is in the sentence, look at the list. This is one of the few times in English language that I would say stick to that list. Don't deter from it, and you're going to be on the right track. And I included both of the lists on this slideshow, and I'll kind of hop through them real quick just so that you have a reference point on this video as well as on the slideshow that you can open up under modules on Canvas. So one of the sentences that was on the assignment last week was, early in the morning, Sam acts grumpy. We're consulting the list. I'm looking for what word or words are the preposition. In this case, in is the preposition. And, I'm looking at the whole phrase, in the morning. Now, if I pull that phrase out, it can't stand on its own. In the morning is not a complete sentence. It lacks a subject, right? It has to have some noun or pronoun that you can attach meaning to. In this case, it's talking, early in the morning is a whole phrase, but it's really talking about Sam and how he acts early in the morning. I could flip early in the morning and put it on the end of the sentence, Sam acts grumpy early in the morning, and it would make sense. So, we're looking at how this is split up into two different parts of a sentence, but what's important is that you found from your chart in, which of course you can see on this next page, we've got it right there. And that would help identify what the preposition was in that sentence. So here's your list of prepositions. I know there's quite a few of them. Again, I have no expectation that you memorize this whole list from heart. I remember when I was in school, there was like a nifty little song that you had to memorize to kind of help remember the most often used prepositions. This is a much more comprehensive list of those words. So here it is. It's on the video. It's on the slideshow. Utilize it. Use your resources. They're right there for you. And of course, I included the prepositional phrases as well. These are your ones that are going to have more than one word in them. Again, utilize the list. Make sure you're looking at it. When you're looking for prepositional phrases or prepositions, they're right here. They're ready for your eyes to look at. And then the last rule that you need to remember is that if a sentence starts with a preposition or a prepositional phrase, then it's going to need to have at the end of it almost all of the time a noun or a pronoun that is the object of that preposition. So you can't really start a sentence with a preposition and then just trickle off. It needs to have more information there in order to make it grammatically correct. let's look at an example. So I did not include ones from the assignment last week because you guys all did so well on it that I didn't feel like it was worth it. So I put a couple new ones in here. So the first one is, the dry weather ruined the crop despite our desperate irrigation attempts. So I would look back at my list and I'd look for the word that's in there. In this case, the word despite, right there, is the preposition that's included in this sentence. So I would form, under my line here, I would put preposition as despite. And then I ask the question, despite what? What's the object of that preposition? In this case, it would be attempts. Now, I would have accepted, and I did this on the quiz as well, tried to put in as many variations as possible, but I'll go through and make sure that I got all of them. Because like if you put despite desperate irrigation attempts, if your object was desperate irrigation attempts, attempts, any combination of those words there, I would have accepted it. What's most important to me is that you're able to identify preposition and then you understand that the object is after the preposition is listed in the sentence. So there's that. And then one on your own. We completed the project 3 weeks ahead of schedule. Again, consult the list. So look at the sentence again, and I'll go back to the list. We completed the project 3 weeks ahead of schedule. And you see here that I'm asking for a prepositional phrase, so I will go back to the phrases. Go ahead and take a look at those phrases. And then define what the prepositional phrase is and what the object is of that prepositional phrase. Okay, so if you said the prepositional phrase was ahead of course, that is listed on this list right there. So the prepositional phrase was ahead of, and they're ahead of what? They're ahead of schedule. So that would be the object, schedule. It's as simple as that, guys. Prepositions are one of those things that you just really kind of have to stick to the list and understand that that object's going to be after your preposition or prepositional phrase or compound preposition is used. And if you stick to the list, you'll do well on it. And you showed me that on the assignment last week. So I know this video is shorter, but in all honesty, this was one of the skills that I felt pretty good about in terms of how the class performed. So this week, you're going to be looking at conjunctions. Now, a conjunction joins single words or groups of words together. You'll be looking at coordinating conjunctions, correlative conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, and then on a second section, you'll be looking at conjunctive adverbs and interjections. Follow the instructions that are on the assignment. I think it's pretty straightforward. This is the last section of parts of speech. And then next week, we'll be doing a review assignment where you'll just be looking through sentences and naming parts of speech for me. So conjunctions and interjections are kind of the last step in this process. As always, please use the Khan Academy videos. I've had a lot of emails asking like, hey, I'm not really sure how to do this. I'm 100% happy to give some advice and give some feedback, but the very first thing I'm going to ask is, did you watch the Khan Academy videos? I think he does a really nice job putting together informational sentences and putting together, just practices and examples that are super beneficial if you watch them. I know it takes a little bit of time, but I really do think they help, and it's a lot better than just seeing some writing from me in an email. So take a look at the Khan Academy videos. I think they'll be very helpful for you. And then, of course, on your Flipgrid this week, you will tell me, this is what I struggled most on from this assignment. I'd like more support and more learning on, this so-and-so section, and then look for that next week on our final grammar review lesson, because of course next week is the final week of the school year. So that's all I have for you today. I just wanted to hop on real quick, tell you that you guys did really well on that assignment, review it one more time, and go from there. So happy week 7. You're almost there. Keep up the great work. And as always, let me know if you need anything. Thanks, guys.